historians often refer to the medieval period in Western history as the Dark Ages. To put it simply and plainly, there was nothing positive happening in the medieval period. It was dark and there was no historical progress. As a matter of fact, if you look through the medieval period of European history, there is nothing special about it other than Christianity. In the Middle Ages, Christianity dominated society, and the old Christianity that is referred to was Catholicism. Christianity was associated with the beginning of the medieval period and had a tremendous influence. The first country in the medieval period was the Frankish Kingdom in Western Europe. The Frankish Kingdom was founded by the Germanic people who had destroyed Rome, living on the east side of the Rhine River and then moving around the region of present-day Paris, France. The people of Frank were in fact all ignorant and illiterate, not knowing how to make laws and collect taxes. So although the country was established, it was not possible to have a basic administration to run the country. That was the reason that the ancient Romans called them barbarians in a disrespectful way. At that time, the church was well organized and knowledgeable, so the Franks asked the church for help. However, when the Frankish dynasty asked the church for help, they wanted to convert to Christianity and asked for help in running the country. The church liked it very much. So the condition the church asked for was that taxes would not be imposed on the priest, and that the priest would not be drafted if war broke out. And the priest and government reached an agreement to only do religious things as God's representatives. So the priests received real benefits from the government. Then the most important matter was that only the church had the authority to interpret the Bible, and other people or organizations were not allowed to interpret the Bible. But the Pope, the head of the church, could interpret the Bible, and only the church had the right to publish the Bible. As only the church interpreted and published the Bible, the Christian spirit began to dominate the world of mind and spirit in the Frankish Kingdom. So in the Middle Ages, Christianity and the Christian spirit engulfed all European countries. The church had taken a fully authoritative extraterritorial position. However, when they encountered the new millennium, ominous incidents occurred several times. So the power of the Pope's authority was suddenly weakened. One of the first historical events was the Crusades, which was advocated by a man named Uruba to strengthen the popedom. Uruba advocated the recapture of Jerusalem as the Holy Land, where high-ranking clergy gathered. Jerusalem had been in the hands of pagans and Muslims since the 7th century, so we had a duty to bring it under our control. He emphasized that it was not his story. It was what God wanted, and it was also the command of Jesus Christ. It was a war that was suddenly organized and entered into without adequate preparation in advance, so it became a rather chaotic situation. Thousands of soldiers lost their way on the way to Jerusalem and often came back home. There were too many side effects, such as looting farmers in the countryside on the way, because they hadn't prepared enough military food and supplies before participating in the war. There were records that from 1096 to 1272, they waged crusades 8 or 9 times for nearly 200 years. Among the many wars, the war that recaptured Jerusalem happened just once during the First Crusade, and the other wars were all failures. Through the many wars, the casualties were too high and the economy was devastated. And the most fatal aftermath was the tragedy of history, as Christians and Muslims killed so many of each other's people that they became lifelong mortal enemies. From then on, disappointment among people spread that God's army had not won and loss of self-esteem emerged among people. So the authority of the Pope and the authority of the Church were greatly undermined.